Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to see more information about this podcast, or if you'd like to see more of my free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. But for now, I really hope that you enjoy this podcast, and if you do, then I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review so that more people can have the chance to listen to this great work. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast. I believe it was Bob Proctor who said that you are the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution. It's a great quote and an even better maxim to live by. It's so easy to blame other people for our shortcomings, and to write a list of everyone and everything that has led to our inability to get ahead. But the important thing to recognize is that no amount of complaining and no amount of blaming will ever do anything to change the situation. What must happen is a change within the self. It's like that classic Viktor Frankl quote, "When we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." The only means by which we are ever going to change the world is by taking 100% personal responsibility for our actions and our results. The only way that we will ever make our lives and the lives of those around us better is by declaring that we are the start and the end of all of our problems. The Stoics were big believers in the power of personal responsibility, and Epictetus has some great advice on the subject. First, he says, quote, "Most people don't realize that both help and harm come from within ourselves. Instead, they look to externals, mesmerized by experiences. Wise people, on the other hand, realize that we are the source of everything good or bad for us. They therefore don't resort to blaming or accusing others." End quote. This is such a powerful quote, and it's easy to see that so many people in the world today have fallen prey to that victim mentality. They truly believe that they are the victims and that they have been disadvantaged in almost every area of their life. They believe that they are never at fault, and they spend so much time and effort sharing with others just how hard their life is. Their life won't get any easier. In fact, theirs will be a long and difficult life, because a lack of personal responsibility always leads to hardship and pain. The people who believe that they have the power to change the situation are often the ones who actually do. Whereas the people who believe that they cannot change their circumstances inevitably end up living out their self-ordained prophecy, and nothing changes. Now, it's important that you don't misinterpret what I'm saying here, because it's true that there are many victims in our world. There are many people who are genuinely hurting, who are genuinely going through some horrible things. But what I'm actually saying is that the world changes when the power makes a shift to the individual, and when the individual decides that they will accept this power and use it to make their world a better place. Seneca talked about the power of action over complaining, and he said, quote, "You cry, 'I'm suffering severe pain.' Are you then relieved from feeling it, if you bear it in an unmanly way?" End quote. Blaming and complaining does nothing unless strong and purposeful individual action accompanies it. Epictetus continued talking about how we should accept this personal responsibility, and he said, quote, "If wise people experience challenges, they look to themselves. If they are condemned by others, they quietly smile to themselves, unmoved. If they are slandered, they don't feel the need to defend their name." End quote. This is one of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism, the idea that we should be untouched by the world, and that we should be completely self-sufficient in our mind. See, we often hear about people going completely self-sufficient, growing their own food, raising their own livestock, and being free from any financial boundaries. But how often do you meet someone who is self-sufficient in the Stoic sense? And by this I mean someone who takes responsibility for their problems, accepts blame for their mistakes, accepts their results and their wins, is not boastful or self-promoting, and is untouched by people's commendations or criticisms. Someone who is just happy with who they are, where they're going, and how they're going there. This is far more rare of a person than you might think at first. Most people depend on outer circumstances. We crave people's admiration, we fear people's criticisms, we depend on others to make us happy, and when they don't make us happy, then we blame them. We are slaves to desire, and we spend most of our lives searching for possessions or jobs or people or circumstances that we think will make us happy. But the truth is that to be really happy, one must let go of these self-defeating boundaries and move towards a more self-sufficient attitude, one that accepts full personal responsibility for our own existence. When you take 100% responsibility for your happiness, your results, your actions, your relationships, your health, your career, and your daily interactions, something truly magical happens. What you will find is that all of the power that you thought was out of your control immediately starts to flow back to you. You'll find new ways to approach your challenges. You'll see how you could have been better before. You'll understand how you've been living out a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure and doubt. And you'll start to reprogram your mind for a more fulfilling existence. The person who says they have no power has no power. The person who says they have power often does. It's all about the way that you look at life, and it's about the way that we accept or deny responsibility for the situation. Seneca often talked about the idea that no matter how far we travel or how many experiences we try to use in order to escape our pains, we are always traveling with our problems, our faults, and our failings. No matter where you go, you're always going with you. So the best way to live a good life is to fix yourself instead of trying to fix your surroundings. And the only way to do this is by accepting full responsibility every day, all day. Jeff Olson, author of The Slight Edge, wrote the following, quote, "Taking responsibility liberates you. In fact, it's perhaps the single most liberating thing there is. When you take and retain full responsibility, even when others are wrong or the situation is genuinely unfair, you keep your life's reins in your own hands." End quote. Personal responsibility really is, as Jeff Olson said, the great liberator. It gives power to the individual, while by simply complaining or cursing life, we give our power away. If you want to be truly free, you must accept responsibility for your life. If you don't, then your happiness and fulfillment will be completely dependent on other people and other circumstances, which, if anything, is a form of self-imposed slavery. Look to yourself as often as you can, and by doing this you'll begin to see that you have much more power over your life than you had previously thought. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I'm so grateful that you're taking the time to learn about this incredible philosophy with me. If you haven't already done so, I would really appreciate it if you'd review the podcast. If you wanted to give it a 1-star review, that's absolutely fine. I'm open to all criticisms. If you want to give it a 5-star, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you'd like to get in contact with me, or if you have any feedback about the show, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com, and you can send me an email via the contact page. Also, as you may know, you can contact me on my Facebook page, which is Daily Stoic Quotes. Anyway, I'll talk to you next time, but until then, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I really hope that it's valuable to you, and I really hope that it helps you to live a better life. If it has been valuable to you, please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review. If you'd like to see more free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com.